Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. The Idaho State Police were very heavily involved in the investigation into the crimes that occurred at 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022 in Moscow, Idaho. The public has just been privy to hundreds of pages of never-before-seen documents from the Idaho State Police's investigatory files, and many of them provide insight as to what was going on behind the scenes that the public wasn't aware of. Case in point is a report that was written November 22nd, 2022. It is entitled LCSO Tim BESST the 4th, Idaho State Police. This is a witness, Officer Best, and there are two other witnesses that are listed here. Under the narrative section, it says here that on November 22nd, 2022, Idaho State Police Detectives Alderson, Tollison, Talbert, and I, Detective Sergeant Van Leuven, interviewed Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Timothy Best regarding information he had received relative to the homicides. Paragraph 2, Best advised he had received information from, and it's very heavily redacted, related that he had received a phone call from, and again redacted, and sounded drunk. Blank lived at blank in Moscow, Idaho. This address is approximately 350 feet from the house where the unalivings occurred. Paragraph 3. Blank advised his uncle used to work for the ATF and that he had his uncle's ATF hat and jacket. Blank said he put on this hat and jacket and walked into the crime scene when the students were being removed. Blank said he had walked into the crime scene and observed the evidence. Blank said he spoke to a Moscow police officer named Blank. Blank is not a Moscow PD officer. He was a recruit, but he didn't make it off FTO. Blank said Blank wanted to search his house, but said that he would not give him consent and said Blank would have to talk to his landlord. Paragraph 4. Blank said he described the crime scene as a deer inside of an apartment building. Blank further told Blank that he was outside of his house getting ready for a hunting trip when he heard a car starting up at approximately 3:45 a.m. on the morning of the unalivings and saw a car come from the area of the unalivings and drove past his house. He had no vehicle description other than it was a car. Paragraph 5. Blank told Blank that all of the victims were, quote, double tapped, end quote, in the house. He made no mention of anyone being attacked. Blank described a trail in the house that led toward the bathroom, but that he didn't make it. Paragraph 6 said he went hunting that day near Deary with a man named Redacted. Redacted said there were reporters near his house setting up for video, and that one of the reporters had backed into his vehicle. This interview was audio recorded. The recording was later placed on a disc, and the disc will be transferred to the Moscow Police Department. Paragraph 8, nothing further, and this is page 2 of 2. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could interject some comments here, some opinions. Number 1, This is quite a bizarre scenario for a law enforcement official like Officer Best to report that someone else who lived 350 feet, apparently from 1122 King Road, had made this representation that he actually walked over to the home as the students were being taken out, walked inside, donning a hat and jacket, bearing ATF credentials. We're going to monitor this to see if there's any follow-up reports on this individual, and we will report back to you. If you have any comments, any thoughts, any opinions, please leave them here. And until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you very much for joining us here today.